Hello and welcome to this edition of Guided Reading Mini Lessons. Today, everybody's going to be working on the same mini lesson no matter what group you're in, because today we're going to talk about how you can log a book in the reading log. So, first things first, you are going to read every single night. That is the most important thing you can do to become a better reader. Whether you're working on decoding, which is figuring out tricky words, by chunking them, by doing all kinds of things, turned, whatever it is, or you're working on reading fluently, reading accurately, quickly, and like you're talking, like this. There was to be done. Yes, Shen had hardly a moment's rest. At the spring festival, young men and young women from the village hoped to meet and to choose whom they would marry. Very fluent. You all are working towards that. Or if you're just working on comprehension, having a great discussion. My opinion is that Yes, Shen is different from other Cinderella stories because in this story, Yes, Shen has more freedom in her life before she meets her fairy godmother. All are examples of things that we might be working on as readers. But today, we're going to just talk about some basic skills. How do you make sure you log your reading every single night? So, first things first, tonight you're going to read for 30 minutes. You can set a timer. You can read for more than 30 minutes, but no matter what, you can look at a clock, whatever it takes. Make sure you're reading for a full 30 minutes. You brought your independent reading books home with you. You're going to bring them back every day because if you don't, you won't be able to keep bringing them home. I've read this book, Yes, Shen, and in fact, I read this book. I also read my own book. I love this book right here. This book is called Reading Strategies book. Great for teachers, great for students too. All kinds of awesome stuff in here. I read for 30 minutes. So now I'm going to log that in my reading log. So let's take a look. All right, well, you know, because you already got here, you go to www.cornell@douglas.org. Great. Now, I know I'm going to go to any page. Could be the news page, could be calendar page, could be academics. Really doesn't matter. Because at the bottom of every single page is the reading log. So, reading log, here it is. Don't miss it. Don't forget about it. I'm going to click on it. I click on reading log, and here it is. Reading log. Okay, well, step one. It says, Cornell Reading Log RP3. Keep track of the books you read, the time you read, and the strategies you used while reading. This reading log should be completed every night. And that means you're going to complete it once over the weekend. So since this is the weekend, maybe it's Saturday, maybe it's Sunday, maybe you are really diligent and it's Friday night and you're working on it. Either way, you are going to start off. You've already read for 30 minutes. Now you're going to choose your name. Okay, well, my name's not down here. I'm going to choose Mr. Biddle because that's my name. Now I need to choose the date. I can either click on it or I can enter it. I'm going to enter it. So today's date is 2/4/2016. Now the date is really important because in order for you to get credit for finishing it, you need to enter today's date. If you don't, I won't know that you finished it. Now it says today I read for it. Now here's where you just write in the number of minutes. Don't write 30 minutes because look, it's going to say, oops, enter the number of minutes. It has to be a number. Nope. I'm not going to write in 30, the word. I'm just going to write in a number. That's going to make it so that it's easy for me to start looking at how much people are reading every day. 30 minutes. Great. All right, now I'm going to fill out the next part. It says, today I read. Now I'm going to enter the titles of the books I read. Well, I told you that I read 2 books today because they were longer books. One is called Yes, Shen, a Cinderella story. The other is called the Reading Strategies book. So I'm going to enter that in. Here we go. Yeah. Shen, and I capitalize it because it's a book. I'm going to put a comma. Now I'm going to write the Reading Strategies book. All right, those are the 2 books I read. That's it. I just leave it. Make sure you capitalize them because it's a book. Now I'm going to look at and talk about what I did while I was reading. While I was reading, I worked on. Well, I'm mostly working on comprehension skills because I know that that's talking about the book. I'm really working on understanding what makes Yes, Shen different from Cinderella because I'm getting ready to actually read this book to you all so that we can have a great discussion about it. So I'm going to do that. And I was also working on reading more fluently because I always want to be working on my skills of reading with expression. Now for you all, you know that either you're working on decoding skills or fluency. Really, most of us are working on just those two, but whatever it is that you know your group is focusing on, those are the skills you should be working on. And each night you're going to have a mini lesson that might be aimed at decoding or it might be aimed at fluency. Make sure you're selecting the correct one. Now, finally, you're going to write about what you read. So it says summary of one book. Write a summary or retelling of the book you read. Use the format, I read blank. This book was interesting because blank. This book was all about blank. In the book first, etc. I'm not going to do that for you because I want you to make sure that you're doing it on your own, but I'm just going to start it off. So I'm going to start with I read Shen. This book was interesting because it was another version of a Cinderella story. This book was all about Shen, a girl who was not able to do the same things as her stepsisters. And etc. I'm not going to finish it for you because you actually haven't read the book yet, so I don't want to give it away. And then finally it says, but you're going to make sure you fill out this whole thing. Finally it says, other notes for Mr. Biddle. Is there anything you want Mr. Biddle to know after you read this book? Well, let's see. I'm thinking, I might say this book was so interesting. I really hope I get to read another one like it. Can you recommend any other Cinderella stories? With a question mark. Great. That's that. I read for my 30 minutes. Now I'm just really logging it and doing some practice and showing that I read. I'm going to click submit. Great. Now, for me, as your teacher, what I love about this is I can go and I can actually see your responses. And I can see who has been reading. So, for instance, I can see that one student said they read for 30 minutes. This was an example. A student read Fly Guy. I think this was Akir. Great to see that he's reading. A lot of students say they've been working on decoding skills. In this case, this student probably needs to give a little bit more information about what they read. And these are some other examples. So that is what you should be working on each night. So go ahead now and go to the Cornell at YSD website. Remember, you can find it at the bottom of any one of the pages. And go ahead and click on Reading Log and get started logging your reading. Have a great time and